Was everything perfect? It sure wasn't, but it's a much-needed get-right game for the Tar Heels as they bomb away from 3.
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. Welcome into the live postcast edition of the Locked On Tar Heels podcast. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network out there. It's great to have you with us. So good to be together celebrating a win for the Tar Heels. Special shout out to all the everydayers, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and all our insiders as well. This episode's brought to you by FanDuel. You guys, great stuff all the time from FanDuel at the best place to get in on the action all college basketball season long. Visit FanDuel.com to get your boosts and everything else going all the time. North Carolina beats up on Notre Dame 91-69 at home. This is 6 straight wins for the Tar Heels in the series. They've won 15 of 17 against Notre Dame. The Tar Heels are now 15-4 overall. They even out their record in ACC play at 3-3. This is a quad 3 win, so it's really good, to get this victory because you cannot afford a quad 3 loss on your record. As of right now, Carolina has all quad 1 losses. That's the good news. At KenPom, Carolina moves from 35th up to 32nd. The defensive efficiency actually just kind of hangs out at the same. It was 51. It falls to 52. And the offensive efficiency has now climbed into the top 30 at 27. How about that? Really interesting for the Tar Heels. It's just good to not have to say the words therapy session other than to say we're not having a therapy session. I know some of you out there are going to whine and moan and complain because it wasn't perfect. But guess what? It wasn't going to be perfect because that's not what the Tar Heels are right now. So you know what it was? It's a win, and so we will indeed party. Kind of fun to see Brad Stevens in the house, and just good to see fun basketball names. So if you are new to our live postcast, here's what we'll do. We'll talk about the game, big picture, nitty gritty, look forward, maybe go get some comments on the back end of things. Here's where we're at. This was such a needed get-right game from the Tar Heels. The 2-game losing streak is over. Remember, the Tar Heels had lost 3 of 4. We're going to have to talk on the Thursday and Friday shows about, hey, look, now you got to learn how to win an ACC road game, and that's fine. But just getting this win in convincing fashion is so important. I was texting with Tyler Zeller earlier today, and one of the things that he said was, we have to win this game or it gets ugly quick. Saturday is going to be hard enough already, meaning the game at Virginia. And I think Tyler's so right there that what you couldn't do is have this 2-game losing streak, lose this game, and then you just put yourself in a bad position ahead of the Virginia game on Saturday. So really important to get this win. And of course, the Tar Heels do. Finally, get back to that holding someone under 75. The Irish score 69 points. That's the first time since the first ACC game when Carolina played FSU. And so, look, was everything perfect in this game? It absolutely was not. The first half, we'll talk about it more, but Carolina struggled to defend the 3 again. Bad communication, bad switches, bad transition defense. Things got sloppy late when the game got out of hand, but the game was out of hand and Carolina's just jacking up 3s. All right, fine, whatever with that. Like, I know that's frustrating and we would rather not see that, but you're up 29 points. I know, killer mentality, whatever, fine. That's great. But here's what I love about this win. Carolina first took a 10-point lead at 33-23 on a Derek Dixon 3. And one of my big frustrations with this team has been their inability to put teams away, their inability to put their foot down on the throttle and just blow past a team. So I was like, okay, from the moment Carolina gets up by 10, I'm going to track the progression of the score. what's the biggest lead Carolina can push out to, and what's the closest that Notre Dame can get to the Tar Heels. So in that first half, the biggest lead Carolina got out to was 11. Notre Dame got it as close as 7, but never closer than that from the time Carolina opened up their first double-digit lead. The halftime score was Carolina up by 9, 42-33. And here's the best news of this entire game. Notre Dame in the second half never got closer than that halftime deficit, because Carolina opened up the second half on an 8-0 run fueled by Henry Veesaar, and they opened it up to as much as a 29-point lead. It didn't grow beyond that, but that's what we've been waiting to see from these Tar Heels, that killer instinct to put the hammer down and keep going. Now, would we have liked to have seen that as we got to the 6-minute mark instead of just jacking up 3 after 3? Sure, absolutely. But you'll forgive the Tar Heels if they were ready to just let loose a little bit after some struggles lately. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever. So really, I that is the thing that pleases me more than anything else about this game, is that the lead never, after it got to double digits, never shrunk below 7. And in the second half, never was smaller than the halftime margin of 9. Yes. Thank you, Tar Heels. Way to go. And a lot of the reason it happened this way is because North Carolina, oddly enough, was scorching from 3 for a while. And I know, when it ended, it wasn't a scorching 3-point field goal percentage from the Tar Heels. But man, they were hitting very, very well. They started really hot in the first half from 3, making, I'm trying to get back to my numbers there. 3 of their first 4, they made 5 of their first 10, 6 of their first 12, all of which, by the way, those first 6 were by different Tar Heels. Derek Dixon opened the scoring. Seth Trimble, Jaden Young, Luka Bogovac, Kyan Evans, and Jonathan Powell. Those were the first 6 threes by 6 different Tar Heels. And Carolina winded up with 8 different Tar Heels making a 3, which ties a program record. Carolina also did that earlier this season. I forget who the other 2 were off the top. Well, I can look at the box score and tell you in real time here. Regardless, it's that's the kind of thing. Is Carolina going to hit 13 threes every game? Absolutely not. That's a season high. But you had it. Derek Dixon, Jaden Young, Caleb Wilson, Henry Veesaar hit one in the second half. And Jaron Stevenson. It was those 8 guys. And you didn't have one from Seth Trimble didn't make one. And so Carolina could have gotten to a program record 9 different Tar Heels making a 3. Now, again, one of the things from this game is that's not something I want to rely on all the time, because Carolina took 34 threes out of their 61 field goal attempts, meaning that they only took 27 twos. So I don't know about that, because what that means, because Carolina shot 50% from the field. From 2, Carolina must have been scorching. Let me see if we can do this math quickly here. 31 divided by or minus 13. So they made 18 twos. How many twos did I say it was in total? 18 out of 27 from 2 for Carolina. Good grief. That's 66.7% from 2. Again, would have liked to see Carolina get there. They almost shot better from 2 than they did from the free throw line. That's insanity for the Tar Heels. But nice to be hitting all those threes, and nice to be seeing it come from a multitude of different players, 8 different players to be exact, and we will take that. Next thing I want to get to is talking more about the starting lineup, because I think we all expected Derek Dixon would start again, but we did not expect the other wrinkle in the starting lineup, Jaden Young. Okay, I see you, Jaden Young. We'll talk about that and the rest of the defense and the 3-point defense and all of that coming up here in just a second. Right after I tell you about our friends at FanDuel. You guys, college basketball season is here. We're thick in the midst of conference play now. We're getting into late January, and FanDuel is here to take care of you, their customers, every single day because college basketball is rolling all the time. And so at FanDuel, man, you've always got these great lines, whether it's individual games, whether it's props on the games. Maybe you want to zoom out and look at things like who's going to win the regular season in different conferences. You can look at, they have odds on who's going to stay undefeated in conference play. You can do Wooden Award odds, another 20-point game for Caleb Wilson tonight. He's high in those rankings. All sorts of fun stuff to do at FanDuel. Now, I was wrong on my prediction for this game. I said Carolina would win, but not cover the original 11.5-point spread. And Carolina did more than cover that. So maybe I need to say that more often so I can reverse jinx it or whatever it is. So lots of great opportunities again at FanDuel. You can ride with the favorite when you think a team's going to control the matchup. You can take a shot on an underdog if you feel an upset coming, or you can build a parlay around the players, the moments that you think are going to decide a game, man. That's at FanDuel, where you can hang out and make picks all college basketball season long. I love everything FanDuel is delivering. Go ahead and check out what FanDuel's got for you every single day. All right, we're going to pull up the box score here as we continue along. Forgive me, I hadn't loaded it in yet, so I'm doing that in real time as we chat here for those of you watching. If you're listening back later, what's up to all of you? So glad you're here with us as well. Here comes the box score for you. 91-69 Tar Heels. Great stuff. Really nice to be able to get this victory for the Tar Heels. Now, let's go back to this starting lineup because look, I think we all expected, hey, probably going to roll with Derek Dixon again. And I think he's going to step in and continue to be part of this lineup. And he was. But the wrinkle I did not see coming was that Jaren Stevenson would retreat to coming back off the bench again. And even if you told me that, you know what I would have said? All right, cool. Then that probably means Jonathan Powell's in the starting lineup? No, sir. It was Jaden Young that was inserted into the starting lineup. Ends up playing 14 minutes, so not really close to starters minutes. Part of that was because he picked up 3 fouls in the first 2 minutes of the second half, had 4 fouls, had to go to the bench, came back in late. So just didn't have much opportunity to do much. Carolina as a team picked up, 5 fouls, I think it was, in the first 3 minutes of the second half. It was kind of weird, just situationally, whatever, fine. What I mean? But just an interesting wrinkle for the Tar Heels. This was their 4th different starting lineup in the past 5 games. Coach Davis, to his credit, is tinkering with stuff, trying to find something, anything, some sort of combination that will work. And Jaden Young has been making shots. He's been playing tough, defending hard. And so I understand him going with this. As for Derek Dixon staying in the starting lineup, very solid. Yet again, played 27 minutes, was plus 17, 11 points, so double digits now in back-to-back games. He was 4 of 6 from the field, hit 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, which means he's made 7 threes in the last 2 games, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, just 1 turnover in 27 minutes. And so him not committing many turnovers. In fact, Carolina was back to single-digit turnovers for the first time in a while, and that's really encouraging. 8 turnovers in this game. And again, Derek Dixon himself only committed 1. Now, there was another personnel wrinkle that I thought was very interesting in this game, because with Jaren Stevenson not starting, and also you've got Kyan Evans not starting, Luka Bogovac, and I thought, well, that probably means Jaren's first one off the bench, as he kind of was when Seth came back and Jaren went to the bench. But here was the weird thing. Who was the first? I know he was the first big off the bench. Was he the first any Tar Heel to check in? Was Zayden High? I want to see if I can substitutions. Yes, Zayden High was the first Tar Heel off the bench, not even just the first big. That's, again, another thing I didn't have on my bingo card for this game. For Zayden High, ended up, didn't play much time in this game, 4 minutes in totality. Had a nice little, was it a tip dunk or it was a putback? I can't remember if he dunked it or not, but still, whatever. Most importantly for Zayden High, no turnovers. That's what I'm always watching for. Can Zayden avoid those? So just some interesting personnel wrinkles for the Tar Heels. Unexpected for me, but we'll see what Carolina continues to do with that. As one more thing about the personnel, how does Kyan Evans respond to going to the bench? Because Saturday, he did not have a great game at Cal. And that's putting it probably nicely. You know what I'm saying? In this game, though, a much, much better response from Kyan Evans. He only played 10 minutes in this game. I haven't looked, but I'm imagining that's his Carolina season low. But in those 10 minutes, he took 5 threes and made 3 of them. 9 points, no rebounds, 1 assist, no turnovers. But that version of Kyan Evans, who's just kind of playing and flowing, heck yeah. And if Derek Dixon's doing what he's doing, we can live with that. So just wrinkles did not expect to see. And man, we'll keep our eye on it, because is that what's going to happen at Virginia on Saturday? I don't know. We'll see. You know, I forgot to say this. I talked about the outweighed 3-pointers to 2-pointers. Of Carolina's first 11 field goal attempts, 10 of them were threes. Of course, Carolina made 5 of those, and that helped them kind of get to going. All right, let's talk about the defense, because obviously the defense for Carolina has been the issue, has been the bugaboo, has been the thing that's like, man, Carolina is struggling here. We already talked about Carolina finally holding a team under 75 again. The 3-point streak is over. Carolina allows 8 3-pointers in this game, but I got to tell you, in the first half, I was not encouraged. Notre Dame goes 6 of 12 in the first half, shooting 50%. And yet again, the issues were glaring. A couple of them, let me mention 2. There was a play, Notre Dame just ran some simple screen action up top that involved Derek Dixon and Caleb Wilson. They both went with not the guy who had the ball. Wide open 3 from the right wing, canned it. There was another where Notre Dame was in transition. The whole defense, or the majority of the defense, sucked into the interior. Caleb Wilson tried to recover. It was too late. Wide open 3. And there were other wide open 3s with miscommunication or poor defense that Notre Dame just simply missed. But in the second half, I thought Carolina recovered to a lot of them more capably, stayed connected more capably, and a nice turnaround where Notre Dame shoots just 2 of 13 from beyond the arc in the second half. So for the game, they were 8 of 25, 32%. As a reminder, the last 4 games, Carolina had allowed 54% from 3. It appeared that was going to be happening again in the first half, and that Carolina would continue to surrender double-digit 3s, but that was not the case. In fact, I had done the research before this game. I was able to get Carolina's 3-point game log information all the way back to the championship season of 92-93. There were 7 seasons before that in which 3-pointers were part of college basketball. I haven't found the game logs for that yet. But in all those seasons I had found, this was just the 5th time ever Carolina had allowed a team, or allowed their opponents to make double-digit 3s in 5 straight games. Never before this season had Carolina allowed a team to make 12 or more 3s in 5 straight games until this season. So that was a new program thing, unless it happened in those other 6-7 seasons I hadn't been able to track down yet. So great to be able to finally end that streak. And it's not just 3-point shooting that Carolina had struggled with. In the first 14 games of the season, Carolina allowed 36% from the field. In the last 4 games, 54% from the field. The good news is tonight, right at 36%. So the average of those first 14 games. And it was consistent throughout. It was not the polarized 3-point shooting of the first and second half. First half, Notre Dame shot 35%. Second half, 36%. So Carolina did what they needed to do throughout the game. Part of that is you're looking to see, does Carolina allow a guard to go off again? They did not. Jalen Harrelson, their heralded, talented freshman, did get 13 points, but he needed 16 shots to get there. That's the kind of inefficiency I want to see Carolina forcing game in and game out. And look, I know that Notre Dame did not have Markus Burton, and he would have been a problem. Let's just admit and acknowledge that. Nor did they have Kebba Njie, one of their front court players who's rough, he's tough to deal with, all of that. But I'm not going to apologize for those guys being out. Carolina did what they did against the players that Notre Dame had available, and we can live with that. One other interesting thing in this game is there was a weird, for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see this, a weird offensive rebounding numbers. Notre Dame led Carolina in offensive rebounds 18-10. Carolina is one of the best teams in the nation at securing defensive rebounds, not allowing those second chance opportunities for their opponents. Not tonight. Notre Dame seemingly at will was grabbing these second chance opportunities. But here's what was interesting about it. So Notre Dame got 18, Carolina got 10. But Carolina did more with theirs. In fact, they led second chance points. So despite the fact that Notre Dame got 8 more offensive rebounds, Carolina led second chance points 17-13. Carolina led the total rebounding 44-39. So that is the kind of thing that you wanted to see happen. In a similar vein, Carolina, I mentioned earlier, only 8 turnovers in this game, and even more importantly, only allowed 2 points off of turnovers. That's the kind of thing that you got to do time and time again. Another area that Carolina led that I thought was really important was fast break points, 13-2 there as well. So really, really good for the Tar Heels to get those things done. So obviously much more to say on this game. We will do that on the Thursday show. I'm going to actually record that live tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. Make sure you're with us there. However, I do still want to get over to the comments, see your thoughts, your opinions on this game. If you thought Carolina turned a corner, any of that kind of stuff. And that's what we'll get to coming up in just a second. All right. Good to be back together here. I'm starting to take in some of your comments and questions and conversations. Allen 2333 says, great win. Our guards were hitting threes, making it easier on our bigs. Just got to continue with Virginia next. Great hashtag, great day to be a Tar Heel. And man, this is the version of the Tar Heels that from a shooting standpoint, Hubert Davis wanted to see. And that's encouraging because, again, the front court is so great. I haven't even talked about what Caleb Wilson and Henry Veesaar did in this game. Caleb Wilson didn't get a double-double, but he did get his 13th 20-point game. He had 22 in total, very efficiently, 11 from the field, 7 boards, 5 assists, a block, and a steal. That kind of production, I'm sure I'd love a double-double, but that level, 22, 7, 5, 1, and 1, my goodness, I can live with that all the time, especially when it's as efficient as Caleb did. And for Henry, he does get a double, 15 points on 6 of 10 shooting. Remember, he only had 3 points at halftime, 12 rebounds for Henry, and 2 blocks as well. By the way, Henry was a team high plus 30 in this game. Nobody else was higher than Seth's plus 18. So that's really encouraging there to see the front court combo get 37 and 19 combined between the two of them. Again, unfortunately, one of the issues of which Henry and Caleb were the main culprits was Carolina's free throw shooting. 16 of 23 as a team, 69.6%. Of those 7 misses, the combination of Henry and Caleb had 6 of them. And so that's just, it's got to be better. The rest of Carolina missed 1 free throw, right? And so there's that. But all that to say, when the rest of the team is hitting from beyond the arc in the way that they were, that enables more space, more ability to move for both Caleb and Henry. And so I agree with Alan here that this was really great. Melinda asks, which player was the MVP? Which player was the most improved? It's a great question. MVP for this game, it's got to be Caleb. Maybe Henry for the second half, you know what I'm saying? But there's so much that Caleb did. Almost quiet. It was like if you can have a quiet 22, Caleb had that. Most improved, it's got to be Derek Dixon. I mean, the way he's stepping up, right? I know the assist number, there's not like gaudy assist numbers or anything, but he's not hurting the team. He's scoring like double digits in back-to-back games. Kyan Evans wasn't doing that as the starting point guard. And so, Melinda, that would be my answer for both of those. Our guy, Derek Tyson, says, Isaac, I've been going back and forth on whether Virginia is a must win. In my opinion, it's a huge game for the program and HD. It would also ease the fan base a bit and show we are still a good team. Yeah, Derek, this is an interesting thing. It's certainly not a must win, but I mean, if you did win it, the type of statement that would make to yourselves as a team, to the Carolina fan base, to the ACC, and to the nation is important, because you all have been hearing me say this for a while now. I believe that Virginia right now is playing as the second best team in the ACC behind Duke. They look really good. They've just brought in lots of good players to be part of things. And so this is a struggle for Carolina. The other issue is that Carolina undefeated at home and they look great. They've played 4 true road games, Kentucky, and then 3 in the ACC. They obviously won at Kentucky, and that win, Kentucky's looking better. They've won 4 straight now. They won also on Wednesday night. But Carolina has lost their other 3 road games, and unfortunately, those are all ACC play, SMU, and then the 2 California games. So that's the other thing with this is it's like, all right, you got this get-right game. You got a little chance to breathe and do what Carolina did. I mean, they ran away with this game. And now, though, you go to Virginia and you're like, got to get an ACC road win at some point. And so it's not a must-win game, but it is a game that could put Carolina back where they need to be in this season, also get back above 500 in ACC play, and there's some of that. So, yeah, Frederick Holding says, solid outing while working on some things and coming off a rough week. Dixon looked more confident. Here's the thing with this is one of my favorite things is to be able to win, but still have a lot of stuff to work. I mean, this is a game that Carolina won. What was the final margin? 22-point victory for Carolina. And yet there's still a ton to work on. So I know it's a bit of a depleted Notre Dame team, right? They're without their leading scorer. I get that. But that doesn't mean they beat Stanford, who Carolina lost to, without Markus Burton. And so this is an opportunity where you say, man, we put forth a really solid effort here. We were hitting from outside. Roy Williams, everything looks better when the ball goes in the hoop. And yet, got to clean up those defensive rebounds. Can't let your opponent get that many offensive rebounds. Got to continue to clean up ball screen coverage. The bigs recovering more quickly. So much of it. The more and more tape I've watched, the more and more other people are dissecting it as well. So many of the issues with giving up these wide open threes are Caleb and Henry's recoveries. And there are other things too, right? But that is certainly part of it. And so, man, there's a lot with that. Derek Tyson says, Caleb, the best passer on the team too? ? LOL, kid is so special. And here's what I love about this is yes, at least 2 of Caleb's 5 assists were when he got double teamed and would swing out for the perfect pass for a 3. I remember one in particular, he got double teamed in the corner opposite the Notre Dame bench, kicked a cross court to Bogovac, basically right where Coach Shrewsbury was standing, who swung it to Derek Dixon for a wide open 3. So that's the thing that Carolina has to do. If teams are going to send these doubles at Caleb and Henry, what Carolina has to do is get the opposition in rotation and either bury wide open threes or attack the basket off of the closeouts. And it's things like that. And what I love is how elated Caleb gets for his teammates when he makes a good pass and somebody scores. And so his vision, supported by his height, man, is really, really good. And that's great. Frederick also says Caleb can get a triple-double this year if the team hits 40% from 3. Look, there are 2 triple-doubles in Carolina history. Funny enough, for those who are in the know, they happened within a couple weeks of each other. You can go look up when those were, but Caleb has that potentiality. This is the type of game where if he needed to play more time, he might have been able to do that. So there is that. So much more to say. And I know there's a lot of great other comments in here, but that's a good stopping point for tonight's game. So again, Carolina does what they need to do, gets back in the win column very comfortably, I might add. Are there things to work on? Yes. But is this a game to whine and complain and mutter after? No, because it's a conference win, whether it's by 2 or 22, and it was 22. Can we celebrate that? Yes, we absolutely can. But here's the thing, back to the drawing board, because Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days from now, you got to go to Charlottesville, and you got a massive opportunity in front of you to win a game that I'm almost guaranteeing you almost nobody thinks Carolina can or will win. And then after that, you got a week off to continue to work on things before you play the next Saturday. And that's your last opportunity to get some off time before the rest of the season. Now you play 2 games a week. There are no more off weeks. So you got to take advantage of next week, put in things that you need, and then kill it, right? All right, you guys, so glad to have you all here post-game. Great to see a Carolina victory, a comfortable Carolina victory. Great to see Caleb Wilson smiling and happy. Great to see the backups getting in toward the end. Nice stuff there. If you haven't subscribed to the show, video and audio, do that right now so you don't miss a second of Locked On Tar Heels. Join our brand new Everydayers Club. That link's in the show notes, as is the link for the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. We'd love to catch you there as well. You guys, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We're going to talk again tomorrow morning live. Make plans to be with us there. And then Coach Rob and I are going to record tomorrow afternoon for the Friday game. For the Saturday game, the Friday show. That'll be the Virginia preview as well. So make plans to be there with us for that one. But until then, peace.